So that brings me to the second part, that is accept. Accepting challenges for Srila Prabhupada's service. Whenever I interact with Maharaj, I ask him, see, many of my other God brothers, when they interacted, they ask about projects and give reports and ask practical things. For me, I'm too irresponsible to have any project. So my questions are only about philosophy. How to answer this question, or how to present this, how to address this issue. So with respect to that, especially when I started doing Western outreach, so then I asked Maharaj that, that what inspired you to start focusing on that from more or less 2004. So many incidents were there. One is, of course, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj asked him to write the Journey Home. And Maharaj wrote that book as a service to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, but he saw that through this book, outreach in the West can happen. So now what has happened for India, for our movement abroad, is that there was a time in the 1960s and 70s when Western people were very receptive. And at that time, Prabhupada had a lot of Westerners becoming devotees. But since the 1980s and especially 1990s, we are having mostly Indians coming to our temples. And Western people are not coming much. So one devotee, Western leader, he told me, expressed concern, is that the way the movement is going, we will soon have Indian Society for Krishna Consciousness with international branches. So now, what do we do? So now a Western outreach is quite difficult for various reasons, but the main reason is that, see, India and in general Eastern culture is very hierarchical, very vertical. This is the authority, this is subordinate. Western culture is very egalitarian, very horizontal. And our conventional presentation of bhakti has been very vertical. That surrender to the spiritual master, follow the instructions of the authority, and things like that. And that is very difficult for Western people to follow. Because by default, whenever there is authority, the Eastern attitude, because there is certain hierarchy, if somebody is in a position of authority, by default, the attitude is respect. Now, if this person is in a position of authority, they must have some merit, some competence, I respect them. Now, if they act in wrong ways, then there will be doubts. But in the West, the attitude is, the default attitude towards authority figures is doubt. No. You must have done something wrong to grab this power. So, the default attitude is out, and especially it is all the more true for religious authorities. See, America was built by Protestants, and Protestants were the group of Christians who rebelled against the authority of the Catholic Church. So that rugged individualism, it's not disrespectful. It's a very different thing over here. There is respect, but the respect cannot be assumed. It has to be earned. Just because you're in an authority position doesn't mean I'll respect you. If you have the ability, if you have the qualities, if you have the wisdom, then the respect can be earned. So it's a very gradual process. So if Maharaj gives a class in India, any class he gives, there will be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people will come. But when he goes to the West, he goes to New York, he goes to various places, maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 people will come. And still Maharaj gives classes. So Maharaj said that Prabhupada wanted that this should be an international society. And we need to have people from all over the world. So based on his upbringing in America, based on his enormous spiritual journey, he has a great amount of cultural and social awareness of how people think. And he is able to connect with people. So it's like Maharaj has spent years from 1985 and 1986 started coming to India. From 1989 he based himself in India, more or less. So he built a community, spending years and decades, extremely hard work. Now, as he has grown older, he could sit in India and let his disciples do all the preaching and just give classes and be respected. But Maharaj is like a military general who is like a king who is not ready to simply sit on the throne in the conquered territory. He is like a military general who is going out into difficult territory to reclaim or to gain that territory and offer it to Srila Prabhupada. So it's extremely demanding endeavor. So when I started going to America, there were some spiritual leaders over there. They said, you can do Western outreach nicely, so you come and settle over here and you can help us in the Western outreach. So then I asked Maharaj. I said, so that particular day, he says, yes, they are doing very good Western outreach and he's a very good friend of mine. And if you want to go there, you have my full blessings. And then Maharaj is so sweet and so gentle. So Maharaj said, Prabhupada visited that place. And when he was from that place, from there he wrote a letter. And he said, I am writing from this remote corner of the world. This is America only, but I am writing from this remote corner of the world. And so Maharaj is focusing in his American outreach in New York. He has the Bhakti Center over there. So Maharaj said that, you know what Prabhupada said about New York? He said, New York is the most important city in the world. So, now, what do you say, Akalmand ko ishara kafi hota hai. So Maharaj said, if you want me to focus on New York, I will do that. He says, it's not what I want, it's what will please Srila Prabhupada the most. What was Srila Prabhupada's priority? So, Maharaj, now even in America, there are certain parts of America which are really quite conservative. And some are much more liberal there. So New York, Los Angeles, they are very difficult to preach to because people are super liberal over there. But those are the areas which are probably most influential in America. So Maharaj is spending time in those areas. So that accepting challenges for Srila Prabhupada's service, that is something which is extraordinary. And the way he keeps doing that is remarkable. So especially when he wrote the second book, Journey Home. Now Journey Home was his first book, Journey Within was the second book. So it took a long time to get published. Initially the name of that book was supposed to be Yoga of Love. So I was involved in editing that book. So at that time, Maharaj, that's the time probably I got the most association of Maharaj. Maharaj emailed me the book and he said, let me know your comments. So then I gave a lot of suggestions. I was a little afraid, but I gave a lot of suggestions. Then I went to Mumbai for a class, and after the class I met Maharaj. And I was a little afraid, whether we give suggestions, will Maharaj be unhappy? Maharaj said, your suggestions were very good. And now it is your karma to implement them. So Maharaj is so humble. He says, can you stay here for a few days and help me finish the book? So I said, Maharaj, of course, whatever you want. I'll just talk with Radhanath Prabhu. So I was in Pune at that time, more or less. So Radhanath Prabhu said, yes, certainly. So then I stayed with Maharaj at that time. I stayed in Mumbai. And then I worked on the book. And that time I had very sweet experiences. Maharaj works extremely hard. When he's writing, he becomes very, very grave. So there were some sections where he had written certain things, and I suggested to Maharaj, this story can illustrate this point nicely. So on the Ramayana, that was one of the things that Maharaj suggested. You share some stories. So I said, okay, you write the story and give it to me. So I wrote the story and I copy-pasted it. I showed it to Maharaj. And Maharaj said, okay, let me look at it. And then Maharaj rewrote the whole story. And then Maharaj, what do you think about this? Then I read it. I said, Maharaj, what I had written was like a documentary. What you have written is like a movie. So basically, it's that I had written in a very analytical mode. Maharaj had written in a very descriptive mode with the emotion coming out from the story. And Maharaj just laughed. And he said that sometimes when you analyze too much, you forget to experience. That's such a beautiful and profound point. That when you analyze too much something, you forget to experience that thing. So, I've tried to keep that in mind, although I keep forgetting. I start analyzing that statement rather than. So, then Maharaj, there was a other point where, two, three different incidents over there. There's another place where Maharaj, I suggested, Maharaj, you have written over here that people can seek spiritual teachers, but I was saying that people should become spiritually committed. They need to become spiritual seekers, not just stay spiritual shoppers, just looking here, looking there, looking there. In the West, there is this mood of spiritual shopping. They call it SBNR, spiritual but not religious. So the example of that mentality is that there was a Christian pastor who was on a podcast, and somebody asked a question. He says, I don't go to any church, but I'm a Christian. So the pastor asks very politely, can I know why don't you go to any church? He says, because I haven't found any church that agrees with my philosophy. So these are people who are spiritual shoppers. So I said, Maharaj, maybe you can write something about how people have to become committed. And Maharaj said, Chaitanya Charan, he said, the only reason people are going to be reading my book is because they are spiritual shoppers. Most of those people who are going to read a book like this, they are already connected with some spiritual path, but they want to explore something more. So he said that, yes, what your point is true, but that point does not belong to this book. So now this whole dimension of Western outreach, it requires so much subtlety and nuance, and now Maharaj is so aware of things. Then one evening around 10 o'clock, Maharaj told me that tomorrow we are going to send this book to the publisher. So can you do one final proofreading of the book? And tomorrow after the Bhagavatam class, at 10 o'clock, you give me the changes, and then if there are changes, and then we'll send the book. So I said, okay, Maharaj. The book was over 300 pages, and it was already 9:30, 10. So then I stayed awake the whole night. I was just reading the whole book, and then somehow it was very intense working with Maharaj. So that night I just fell asleep, and my head crashed on the laptop, and the laptop screen cracked. Then I had to get a new laptop from some other devotee borrow, and I completed it. And then around 10:30, Maharaj called me to his room, and then Maharaj was in a very cheerful mood. I was a bit groggy because I had not slept much. And then Maharaj said, this is the final draft, we don't want to touch it at all. I don't want, so you tell me, and I will enter it in my computer. So then the various small typos where they are telling Maharaj, this spelling is like this spelling is like this. So then there was a place where Bhakti Siddhanta, the spelling was, SIDDHANT it is. So the single D instead of double D. So I said, Maharaj, there needs to be a double D over here. And Maharaj said, congratulations, you got it. I said, what do you mean, Maharaj? I had deliberately made that mistake to see if you catch it. So I looked at Maharaj, I was completely confused. I was already a little tired. I didn't know what to think. Then Maharaj started laughing. Don't worry, I'm joking. So that was that meticulousness in writing and very acute awareness of what is required for outreach. I found that Maharaj has taken up that responsibility. Maharaj was already a deep thinker, but writing with this level of awareness, it is a huge effort. And he doesn't have to do it, but he put in that effort, he's doing it. So I could go into this further field of Western outreach much more, and how it is challenging and how Maharaj accepted the responsibility for that. But that, doing for Srila Prabhupada what needs to be done, I've seen that is very, very prominent in his consciousness. Accepting challenges for Srila Prabhupada's service. So, when devotees were supposed to be sent from Pune to various places, so first some devotees went to Vrindavan, and then after that some devotees went to Kolkata. So at that time, when Radhanath Maharaj asked Radhesham Prabhu, we want some devotees for Kolkata. And Radheshyam was initially a little reluctant. He said, of course, Maharaj, but we are also, our preaching is expanding. And Pune, we are coming with a new temple. Maharaj smiled, Radheshyam Prabhu, if we ask Srila Prabhupada, which place is more important, Pune or Kolkata? What will Prabhupada say? So Radheshyam Prabhu said, I became quiet after that. So, anyway, one more point. So, after this whole incident, when I had to do this intense proofreading for Maharaj, I told Gaurang Prabhu, ये 15 दिन बहुत intense था. So, this is very intense for 15 days. Gaurang Prabhu बोले 15 साल से मेरा intensity चल रहा है. So, he said, if you are just relating with Maharaj from a distance, he's very sweet and very encouraging and very loving. But if you start working with him, he's very, very specific in how he wants to serve Srila Prabhupada, how he wants to serve Krishna. So he said that it's not easy if you are in Maharaj's inner circle. You get the privilege, but there is a price to pay for that privilege. So, but I'll move to the last point.